there's this deep reverence for acceptance of life circumstances, and also acceptance of each other is something that I think I would definitely take with me. Hi, my name is Shobhita Soor, and I'm the CEO and founder of Legendary Foods. Insects made me come to Ghana. So what I mean by that is, when I was in university, I was in school, I took part in a crowdsourcing competition called the HALT Prize, which is basically a challenge that is put out to students all across the world to come up with a business idea that addresses a world issue. So the year that my team and I participated, the issue was food insecurity. And we came across this really interesting fact that 1/3 of the world's population consumes some form of insects. We ultimately won the competition, and we started testing in a couple of geographies. And one of the geographies that we chose was Ghana. And at the time, we had a network of farmers that we trained to produce palm larvae. We would then process it and sell it. Palm larva is an insect that is traditionally consumed in palm zones across West and Central Africa. And they are traditionally foraged from the wild. So they are kind of extracted from felled or old palm trees one by one. And so that makes the process very labor intensive, and it also makes it only seasonally available or erratically available. It's not a steady sort of supply. And so part of our value proposition is being able to farm it in-house in a centralized, food-safe way, and also bring down the cost of it, have it available all year round, and have it available in multiple formats. So these are some of our products. This is dried Akokono. So it's basically just dehydrated larvae, spiced or unspiced or only salted. And this is a really great way to preserve the larva as well. And then we have Akokono pie, which is essentially like meat pie or fish pie, where that has been substituted with Akokono. And then these are some of the gateway products that I was speaking about. So this is shito that has been made with Akokono in lieu of shrimp or fish powder. This is a biscuit where we actually take the larva, blanch it, and blend it. So the larvae are actually really high in zinc, B vitamins, a good source of iron, magnesium. So that's like a great way to add those vitamins and minerals to biscuits. And then we also have these like porridge mixes. So this one is with milled rice. This one is with maize. So basically we take the larva and we produce a powder from it. And then it's added to these mixes. And then you just add boiling water. You can add sugar or milk to taste. So it's also like a great way to get added nutrition into the diet. So I was born into an Indian household in Canada, and so I grew up in Montreal. I think I was lucky to have parents that were pretty progressive, and I also grew up in a very mindful environment as well. When I went to university, I actually first studied psychology because I was fascinated by mental health, and I knew that I wanted to have a positive impact in my work. And I realized that I don't thrive in the one-on-one setting, and I couldn't see myself kind of doing that all day as my life's work. And in hindsight, that was probably limited because as studying psychology, like there are so many different applications to that, but that made me rethink my career. And so I thought, okay, let me apply to law school. It just sounded like a good idea. So I quickly took the LSAT and applied to law school. And when I got to law school, I actually had the same kind of realization that, wow, this is gonna be like a lot of reading and writing and a lot of like solo time. But what was amazing is in law school, I got really introduced to corporate governance, to the tension between shareholder and stakeholder rights, to corporate social responsibility, social entrepreneurship. And this really piqued my interest because I was like, hey, this is a way to respond to society's problems in sometimes what is a much faster way than the law. So I then decided to do a joint law business program at McGill, and then got recruited into the Hult Prize journey, and then just continued on from there. So my father grew up in Uganda, so he wasn't born there, but he lived there, and he has the fondest memories of his childhood, and he speaks about it with like such passion and joy. Ultimately, in the 70s, he had to leave when Idi Amin came into power. So I always had there was always a very positive association in my mind with sub-Saharan Africa, let's say. I think what's also really interesting is when I was a child, I was like obsessed with palm trees. Obviously in Canada, there are not palm trees. So whenever my family and I would travel to a place where there were palm trees, like I would always tell myself I want to live somewhere where there are palm trees when I grow up. So something that I've always really admired is that I feel people bring their whole selves to work. I feel I come from a society and a culture that really breeds a dichotomy between who you are at work and who you are in your private life or your spiritual life or your family life. And I feel at least in the people that I work with, really are able to bring their whole selves to work. And so they will be, they feel free to pray when it's necessary in a work context. They feel free to sing while they're working. They feel free to break out into dance when like great things happen. And even sometimes when things are not great. And so I think this reverence for music, for dance, for singing, for worship practices, being really integrated into daily life is something that I admire very much.